Are you ready?
Yeah.
Hit it, Donna.
Hit it, Bella. Hard. Hit it hard.
Bend down and hit it. Come on. Oh!
Nice.
My daddy is a hero. He helps me grow up strong.
Where are you going? You can walk.
Come on, monkey.
Has she been hiding this from me? Oh, you're gonna have a new brother or sister? Yeah, you think so?
Stay, Daddy?
Should I get a thick part in my hair?
Can I do it here?
No, honey, do daddy's.
Daddy's the guinea pig today, okay? Hold on, Bella.
Daddy.
Shannan, Bella, Celeste, if you're out there, just come back. Like, if somebody has her, just please bring her back. I need to see everybody. I need to see everybody again. This house is not complete without anybody here. Please bring her back.
My daddy is a hero. He helps me grow up strong. He helped me not go too. My daddy, I love you.
Welcome to The Cellar. Welcome to The Cellar. Before we dive into today's story a little bit deeper, I want to be very upfront with you all. This is not an easy story to talk about or listen to, so I want to give a little extra notice that viewer discretion is advised. With that out of the way, let's get into today's video. Christopher Lee Watts and Shannan Catherine Rzuciak both lived in the great state of North Carolina. Chris was born May 16, 1985 in Spring Lake, North Carolina, and Shannan was born January 10, 1984 in New Jersey. Shannan would later move to Aberdeen, North Carolina. The couple would first meet in 2010 after Chris Watts friend requested Shannan on Facebook. One thing led to another, and they hit it off right away. By 2012, the pair were already engaged, and they would soon marry on November 3, 2012 in Charlotte, North Carolina. In 2013, the pair would make the decision to move to Frederick, Colorado, where they purchased a beautiful 5-bedroom home for just shy of $400,000. The pair were expecting their first child at the time and felt like this was the perfect place to start growing their family. Just to give a little bit more context, Frederick, Colorado is around a 50-minute drive north of Denver, Colorado. It's a quiet, peaceful community with around 17,000 total residents. Following their wedding and move, the couple would bring 2 beautiful children into this world. Bella Marie Watts was their first child, and she was born on December 17, 2013. Shannan absolutely loved being a mother. It was seemingly the greatest joy within her life. Following the birth of their first child, Shannan would be diagnosed with lupus. Lupus occurs when the immune system, which normally helps protect the body from infection and disease, starts attacking its own tissues. This attack causes inflammation, and in some cases permanent tissue damage, which can be widespread, affecting the skin, joints, heart, lung, kidneys, circulating blood cells, and brain. There are treatments that can help, but ultimately there is no cure for the disease. Following her diagnosis, Shannan would get pregnant again in 2014. After battling with health struggles, Shannan viewed this second child as an absolute blessing. On July 17th of 2015, the Watts family welcomed their second child, Celeste Watts, or as she was typically called by her family, Cece. During all this time, Shannan was known for posting a lot to social media, sharing pictures and videos of her family life. From the outside looking in, you would have thought they had the most perfect family, but not everything was as perfect as it appeared, as 1 month prior to the birth of their second child, the couple were forced to file for bankruptcy. At the time, Chris Watts was working for Anadarko Petroleum as an oil field operator. Shannan was working from home, selling a product called Thrive for a multi-level marketing company named Lavelle. The pair had a combined income of around $90,000, but like a lot of people nowadays, they had gotten in over their head in debt. They had credit card debt, student loans, and numerous medical bills. Add on to that the house they purchased for $400,000 left them with a $3,000 a month mortgage payment. They also spent $600 a month on car payments. The mortgage and car payments alone took up most of the income they brought in every month. This left them with just enough money to pay for utilities, groceries, and whatever else they had to pay each month. Not being able to pay their debts, they soon filed for bankruptcy, and after they did, their homeowners association filed a lawsuit against them for unpaid HOA fees. Now, I'm very aware of how money problems can affect a marriage and a family as a whole. It's crazy to think about, but a family making close to $100,000 a year used to be able to live comfortably. But it's just not like that anymore. The middle class is all but faded, right alongside the American dream. Even with these struggles, the Watts family continued to push forward. By the summer of 2018, Chris and Shannan were expecting their third child. This one was to be a boy they planned on naming Nico. From the outside looking in, the Watts family seemed like a loving family just working to give their kids the best life they could. On June 17, 2018, Shannan posted a Father's Day message to her husband on Facebook. It read, "Chris, we are so incredibly blessed to have you. You do so much every day for us and take such great care of us. You are the reason I was brave enough to agree to number 3. From laundry to kids' showers, you are incredible, and we are so lucky to have you in our life. Happy Father's Day." As June 2018 continued on, changes would begin to happen with Chris and Shannan's marriage. Shannan didn't know it at the time, but Chris had begun speaking to another woman. Nicole Kessinger worked in Anadarko Petroleum's environmental department. She would see the operators pretty often, including Chris Watts. One day at work, Chris came by her office and struck up a conversation. It was clear right away that the pair had chemistry with one another. This chemistry would lead the pair to meeting up outside of work in late June. By July of 2018, Chris and Nicole started seeing each other on a physical level. During this time, Chris would tell Nicole that he was in the process of getting divorced. In July of 2018, Shannan and the girls would leave Colorado and head to North Carolina for a visit with family. While his family was away, Chris continued his physical relationship with Nicole, feeding her lies about how his divorce had been finalized. Chris would spend most of the month of July with Nicole before joining his family on vacation in North Carolina on July 31st. After Chris joined his family, cracks within the marriage began to appear. Messages that Shannan forwarded to a friend of hers showed that there was not only tension between the couple, but tension between Chris and Shannan's parents as well. On August 7th, Shannan sent a text to a friend of hers that read, "He hasn't touched me all week, kissed me, talked to me except for when I'm trying to figure out what is wrong. We've never had a problem in a relationship like this. I just want to cry." At the time, Shannan knew something was wrong, but she had no idea that her husband was seeing another woman, while on the flip side, the other woman was being led to believe that Chris was getting divorced. Overall, it was a messy situation. On August 9th, 2018, Shannan would head to Arizona for business. During this time, she would confide in a friend of hers even more, saying that the pair had had their best talk yet just before she left for Arizona. But on August 11th, Chris Watts would get a babysitter for his kids while his wife was away in Arizona. He would proceed to go to the bar with Nicole for the entire evening. Shannan wouldn't return home from Arizona until August 13th, 2018. Her friend Nicole Atkinson would give her a ride to her house and drop her off at around 1:48 a.m. At 5:15 a.m. that morning, Chris Watts would leave to head to work. He would later tell the news that he and Shannan had an emotional conversation early that morning before he left. As the day continued on, Shannan's friend Nicole Atkinson would become concerned. She had called and texted Shannan multiple times and had not heard back from her. She also knew that Shannan had a doctor's appointment that very morning. When she followed up on her appointment, she found out that she had never made that doctor's appointment. Following this revelation, Nicole Atkinson would call the police department to do a welfare check. Shannan would be reported missing at 1:40 p.m. that afternoon. The police would go to the Watts family home and find Shannan's phone, keys, and purse all within the house. Chris would tell them that the last time he heard from his wife, she told him she was going to a friend's house with the kids. It wouldn't take long before the search for Shannan and the two missing girls would be underway. On August 14th, 2018, Chris Watts would go on live TV to plead for his family's safe return.
She came home from the airport 2 a.m. and I left around 5:15. She was still here. If they're not safe, last night I had every light in the house on. I was hoping that I would just ran over by the kids running in the door and just like barrel rushing me, but it didn't happen. And it was just a traumatic night trying to be here. My kids are my life. I mean, those smiles light up my life. And just like, I mean, last night, like during like when they usually eat dinner, it was just like I missed them. Like, I mean, I missed telling them, hey, you got to eat that, or you're not gonna get your dessert, and just like you're not gonna get your snack after. I missed that. Like I missed them, cuddle up on their couches. They have like a Minnie Mouse couch and a Sophia couch that they cuddle up on and watch, Bubble Guppies or something. It was tearing me apart last night, and I needed that. I needed that last night, and for nobody to be here last night and to go into their rooms and know that I wasn't gonna turn the rain machines on, and I know that I wasn't gonna turn their monitor on, no, I wasn't gonna kiss them to bed tonight. It was that's why last night was just horrible. I couldn't do it.
What would you like to tell your wife and your kids?
Shannan, Bella, Celeste, if you're out there, just come back. Like, if somebody has her, just please bring her back. I need to see everybody. I need to see everybody again. This house is not complete without anybody here. Please bring her back.
As the search for Shannan and the girls continued on throughout the streets of Frederick, Colorado, the police continued speaking to friends and neighbors of the couple. In cases like this, the husband has to be taken into consideration. The police would view footage from a neighbor's camera that showed Chris loading something into his truck the morning he left for work, prior to his wife and kids going missing. The camera also never picked up any footage of Shannan or the kids leaving the house on the day they disappeared. With the information the police had obtained, as well as the fact that all of Shannan's possessions that she would normally have with her were left at the house, they brought Chris Watts into the police station for questioning and a polygraph test. Chris Watts would fail that polygraph test, and it's at this point the police zeroed in on him, pushing him to tell them what happened to his beautiful family.
I don't want to protect her. What? I don't want to protect her. You don't want to protect her? I don't know what else to say. Huh? She hurt him? Yeah. And then I what now? I forgot about her. You hurt her. What? She said something about your mother. I didn't hear anything. No, when I was downstairs, they came back up and they were gone. I don't know, like me talking to her about that. Talking to her about separation and everything, about like, she lost. I don't know, like, what else to say, like, I freaked out. Those are my kids.
In his initial confession to his father, Chris Watts placed the blame on his wife, saying he spoke to her about separating, she lost it, and took the life of both their girls, and Chris reacted to this by doing the same to his wife. Mind you, his pregnant wife at that. At 11:30 p.m. on August 15th, Chris Watts would be arrested and charged with first-degree murder. The following day, on August 16, 2018, the police would recover the bodies of the Watts family. Shannan was found buried in a shallow grave near the 2 oil tanks where the girls' bodies were placed. Ultimately, before the case against Chris Watts went to court, he had a change of heart, and he finally admitted to what he did to his family. He claimed that his wife threatened to take the girls from him, and he reacted. But what really happened here is just plain evil. Chris Watts had never been physically abusive. There was no glaring red flags that this was about to happen, but what did happen can only be described as one of the most evil things any human being can do.
And the girls are still in the truck.
Okay.
Did they ask you what you were doing, taking mommy out, or?
Yeah, I don't remember what I told them, but they did ask that.
What they say specifically?
It was more of like, what are you doing to mommy?
Okay. Alright. And then the girls, right? Okay. You mentioned Bella was first. Cece was first, okay. Where exactly was she when it happened?
In the backseat.
Okay. Was she just right next to Bella?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so once again, was it hand over her face? Was it?
It was a blanket over and my hand.
And then your hand. Okay. And then so that just stopped her from breathing type thing? Okay. Did she struggle at all?
I don't think so, but I was blocking her face and my hand was right here.
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay. What was Bella doing?
She was sitting there next to her. She didn't know what was going on.
Okay. Could she see you? Okay. Tell me about what you were thinking.
I wasn't. I was thinking it's what happened.
Yeah.
Or any partial hint of what I feel for those girls and what I feel for my wife, but none of this would have happened, so I wasn't thinking.
Okay. So she's in the back seat. Okay. And then once she's gone, then is it Bella next, or did you pull Cece out?
I pulled Cece out.
Okay, so once Cece's gone, Bella's still there in the car alive, and then you pulled Cece out. What'd you do with her? Okay. So she went into the tank, and Bella was still in the back of the truck alive. Okay. With regard to that tank, did you bring up Cece, put her down, open the hatch?
Brought her up, opened the hatch.
And put her in. Okay. And then went down to Bella. Tell me what happened there.
She said, what happened to Cece? First, she asked, is the same thing, the exact same thing that happened to me as Cece.
Did she ask you that? Okay. So Bella's pretty smart. How did she sound when she asked you that, Chris?
She said that soft voice she always had.
And what exactly did she say?
She said exactly the same thing that happened to me as Cece. And then I said, I don't even remember what I said.
Okay.
I don't know if I just said yes like a horrible person, or if I just put that blanket over her too and did the same thing.
Same blanket, same way?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
She said, no, Daddy. And that's the last thing she said.
What happened here in this case was pure evil. I'm a parent to 2 little boys. I can't even comprehend how someone can hurt their own children. Children look up to their parents, presenting us with absolute trust and the purest form of love. It's honestly upsetting for me to even talk about it. As a parent, I spend every day trying to protect my kids from anything and everything that could ever cause them harm. I get that the Watts family wasn't as perfect as it appeared on the outside. In the end, people ask what his end game was. From looking over all the evidence, I think it was simple. Chris Watts felt trapped. He had a burning desire to get rid of all the problems within his life. The family was massively in debt, he was expecting a 3rd child, and he had met a new woman that had pursued him, and he was enjoying the new thrill that came with a new relationship. When his family left for North Carolina, he enjoyed weeks at home by himself, going to work and spending time with his new mistress. He got a taste of what life would be like without having to deal with the stress that his marriage and family had become to him. For Chris Watts, his life had become an absolute burden. Now, I don't know in the end if all of it was premeditated. He stated that he came clean to Shannan about the affair and told her he wanted a divorce. After coming clean, she stated to Chris, well, you're not going to see the kids ever again. It was in that moment that he decided to end his wife's life with his bare hands. At the end of the day, none of us can ever truly know what was going through Chris Watts' head. Could this have been premeditated, or was it simply him reaching a breaking point and wanting out of the life he felt trapped within? No matter what the answer is, what he did next was selfish and unforgivable. Ultimately, Chris Watts would end up taking a plea deal to avoid the death penalty. He is now going to spend the rest of his life in prison without the possibility of parole. For some, that judgment is not enough, but I argue that there isn't a punishment that exists that would ever be harsh enough for the crimes he committed. I hope that every single day, for the rest of his existence, he is haunted by the thoughts and memory of what he did. His wife deserved better, those 2 little girls deserved better, and his unborn son deserved better. I think in the end, Chris Watts did what he did because he thought it was the easiest solution, and because he truly thought he could get away with it. When it became clear he wasn't going to get away with it, he then tried to pin the crime on his wife. After being behind bars and coming to a realization that the evidence was drastically against him, he finally came clean as to what happened. In sharing the story, I want to shine a light not on the monster that is Chris Watts, but on the family he so selfishly extinguished. They all had so much life, love, and joy left before them, and they should be remembered with great fondness moving forward. This case was an absolutely gut-wrenching one to cover. I honestly had moments where I didn't know if I could finish it, but I realized that not only could I share the horrifying story, but I had an opportunity to go beyond that and share the absolute joy and love that Shannan, Bella, and Cece were to so many people. I watched so many videos that Shannan made, showing the world a glimpse of her life. The more I worked on this video, the more I felt a personal connection with these souls that were taken so selfishly. Once again, My deepest condolences go out to all the family members and friends that were affected by this case. May Shannan, Bella, Cece, and Nico rest peacefully.
I never wanted you to leave. I can't keep living in the past, stuck inside this tragic scene. But a daughter's love can't bring you back. And every time I look at you, I see a part of me. It seems no matter what I do, I'll always be empty without you. Without you. Without you. Every time I look at you, I see a part of me. It seems no matter what I do, I'll always be empty without you. Without you. Without you.
Thank you all for tuning in to another episode. If you enjoy the content, please hit that like and subscribe button. It helps the channel continue to grow. Also, if you want to make sure you don't ever miss a new upload, you can turn on the bell notification after you subscribe. In the description box below, you'll find a link to my merch store and a link to the Cellar Dwellers membership tier for the channel. If you're interested, please take a moment to check those things out. If you'd like to submit your own scary story or any kind of story recommendation for the channel, you can do so using the email that I have linked in the description box below. As always, I do all the research, writing, recording, and editing for the channel myself, so anything you do to support the channel is greatly appreciated. Until next time, I will see you all again as we head back into the cellar.
And every time I look at